Welcome to Longevity Codes with your host, Fred Herbert. This podcast is about living a longer, healthier, and more active life. Each week, Fred shares strategies from experts about not only living longer, but helping us discover our personal longevity codes to live life to the fullest. This podcast is sponsored by RedoxLongevity.com, where we'll discover what experts are calling the most amazing breakthrough in our lifetime that affects health, anti-aging, and sports performance. Learn more at RedoxLongevity.com. That's www.RedoxLongevity.com. And now, here's our host, Fred Herbert.
Welcome, my fellow longevity code breakers. In this podcast, we'll discover how to find the perfect diet that'll help you in your journey to living a longer and healthier life. One of the first steps we must take toward longevity is to get to a healthy weight. In a study of 500,000 non-smokers ages 50 to 70 that were all considered to be healthy, there was a direct correlation between those who were overweight and those who died an early death. It's a simple formula. Get to an ideal body weight and live longer, and healthier, I might add. In an abstract on the U.S. National Library of Medicine website titled Morbidity and Mortality Associated with Obesity, it stated, quote, "Obesity and its repercussions constitute an important source of morbidity. Impaired quality of life and its complications can have a major bearing on life expectancy." The abstract goes on to say that 13 specific domains have been identified that account for morbidity and mortality in obesity. Cardiovascular disease and cancer account for the greatest mortality risk associated with obesity. End quote. It's no secret that 2/3 of Americans are either overweight or obese. Typically, we gain weight over a long period of time. So should it also make sense that we need to lose it over a long period? Those who are smart about losing weight the healthy way tend to keep it off longer. I don't really like the word diet. Think about how it's spelled. The first 3 letters is D-I-E. If you're overweight, getting lean will be a great piece of your longevity strategy. But let's change the concept of diet. When we're trying to lose weight, getting healthy, or wanting to make a change, make it a lifestyle change. I'm not perfect and neither are you. One day is great and the next day we make mistakes. Forgive yourself and keep moving towards the healthy goals you want. When I use the term diet here, I'm not talking about some sort of quick fix eating program. Instead, we're talking about foods you eat on a daily basis. According to Webster's dictionary, the definition of diet is, quote, "food and drink regularly provided or consumed," end quote. This is not going to be a podcast of quick and easy weight loss strategies. No, this is all about finding a way for you to get to a healthy lifestyle that will help you reach your longevity goals. By now you're thinking, Fred, enough about the problem, just tell me the perfect longevity diet. Let's first agree on what a healthy diet would look like for someone who's looking for both longevity and quality of life. The diet should include all of the following elements. The first and most obvious element is that it would contain foods that promote getting our bodies to the ideal body weight and maintaining it. As you probably know, most people that go on diets gain it all back and then some. Second, it would also need to be foods that support health at a cellular level. It would include things that feed and promote healthy cells, and it would avoid and eliminate foods that cause cellular damage. I'll talk more about cellular health in future podcasts, but in the meantime, you might want to check out our sponsor, RedoxLongevity.com, who's all about health at a cellular level. Third, the diet would be foods that help reduce inflammation. Excessive inflammation causes all kinds of joint pain and other health issues. Fourth, your diet would need to be filled with foods that you enjoy eating, but not donuts and ice cream, but healthy foods that you'll stick with and make it a part of your daily life, even after achieving your ideal weight. Fifth, it would be a diet that helps you avoid chronic health issues like heart disease, diabetes, cancer, arthritis, and the list goes on. Each of these can be caused by or at least impacted by poor diet, and lifestyle choices. A simple and profound truth about living longer is just prevent the typical lifestyle-related diseases that cause us to die before our time. And 6, there would be a diet low in heavy metals and toxins. We live in a very toxic world, and it's almost impossible to remove ourselves from it completely, but we should avoid exposure as much as we can. Here's where organic foods play a role. Also, when choosing what fish to eat, go with wild-caught fish known to be low in mercury. And lastly, it would be a diet that's unique for you. Our bodies are all very different, and what works for me may not work for you. Don't make any diet choice based on the latest fad. Make sure it has scientific backing and that it works for you. I hate to break it to you, but there is no magic formula. I'll cover some good guidelines to start with, but you have to test for yourself what works for your body. You have a unique DNA and body chemistry that causes you to react to food differently than anyone else. The first diet I'll talk about is really not a diet at all. We'll call it the Undiet. It's simply eat less food. Back in the 1930s, scientists began doing studies on mice and found they could live dramatically longer when they cut back on their food. Americans especially seem to be obsessed with oversized portions. What was considered a normal adult meal 30 years ago would be laughed at today as a kid's meal. Restaurants that overfill plates with food are rewarded by return customers. I realize we want to get our money's worth, but we've gone to the extreme. Go to the nearest all-you-can-eat buffet and tell me what you see. Most of us need to learn how to be satisfied with less and not eat until we're stuffed. Learn to push the plate away before you're full. Now that we've talked about what an eating program should include, here's a few popular eating programs that you might want to consider for a longer life. I'm not suggesting you try to or adopt any of these because, again, you need to find out what works best for you. The first one is the Mediterranean diet, which has long been considered a diet that promotes longevity because the people in the Mediterranean region tend to live longer and have less of the health issues that we face here in the U.S. Their diet has a healthier balance of omega-3s, which are the good fats, and it's filled with fresh fruits, veggies, whole grains, fish, olive oil, garlic, and drinking wine in moderation. Their diet has less omega-6 oils, which is bad if you have too much of it, and have less meat products and things filled with vegetable oil like snack foods. They're much less likely to develop heart disease, diabetes, and other diet-related diseases. The Mediterranean diet might be a good place for you to start. Let's talk about the popular Atkins Diet. In 1972, Dr. Robert Atkins published his first book on the Atkins Diet, and it's classified as a low-carb fad diet. It did teach us that high-fat, low-carb not only helped people lose weight, but it was effective in lowering cholesterol and triglycerides, which was contrary to the fat myths of the time. While this diet proved that we can lose weight and even improve cholesterol on high-fat diet, it's generally not recommended as the kind of plan we would build a healthy lifestyle diet around. Next up is the ketogenic diet. This diet uses fat rather than carbs as an energy source. High fat with sufficient protein and low carbohydrates. It was originally designed to treat severe cases of epilepsy in children. Often called the Keto Diet, it's similar to Atkins and other low-carb diets. This is worth investigation, but some experts caution there could be long-term health issues with not consuming enough healthy carbohydrates. How about the low glycemic diet? This is a particularly good diet, especially for someone with prediabetes or diabetes. The glycemic index is a measure of how foods we eat spike our blood sugars. The more our blood glucose goes up, the more insulin our pancreas has to produce. This battle can increase what's called insulin resistance, which is type 2 diabetes. Check this one out. There's no way you can go wrong if you favor low glycemic foods over high glycemic. Another approach that makes a lot of sense to me is called the Paleo diet. It takes us back to our hunter-gatherer ancestors. The concept is to not eat anything that a caveman would not have eaten. You can eat anything that can be hunted or gathered like meats, fish, nuts, berries, seeds, and veggies. You could hardly go wrong on this approach because you would completely eliminate processed foods. Another one is the blood type diet. This diet is based on the concept that you should eat foods that are healthiest for your blood type. My wife found this to work well for her. In the book Eat Right for Your Type by Dr. Peter J. Diamano, he lays out some guidelines of what you should eat for each blood type. There are, of course, critics to this approach, but it might work for you. Next up, vegan and vegetarian is a lifestyle diet that many people are losing weight on, and there is some evidence that it might be a good longevity strategy. It's not for me, but you might want to take a look at it. Studies show that the longest living people on average eat very little meat, if any. Next up is the big name weight loss chains. I won't mention any names, but some of the ingredients that are included in some of their packaged meals or snacks often lack the nutrition that's needed and sometimes has hidden sugars. Something that concerns me about many of the big chains is that their plans are unsustainable over time, and they don't teach a lifestyle of doing it on your own without being on their program. All of these diet programs that I've covered have pros and cons, and not one kind works for everyone. Everybody is different, and you have to find what works best for you and adjust for your unique circumstances, likes and dislikes. Another thing to consider is watch out for foods you could be allergic to and not even know it. This happened to my wife. She had a blood food allergy test done and found she was allergic to several very healthy foods. For example, spinach and almonds. You might consider having an allergy test done to see what foods you are allergic to. I did the same thing and found I was allergic to cooked garlic. Who would have thought that? This has helped both of us fine-tune our eating plans. When we eat foods we're allergic to, even mildly, this will produce inflammation in our bodies and wreak havoc on our digestive systems. Now, here's some basic tools and strategies to help you find your perfect longevity diet. Start first with low glycemic foods. Next, pick foods high in healthy, good fats that are high in omega-3 fatty acids like salmon, sardines, avocados, and nuts. And make sure that your diet is low in bad saturated fats like fatty meats, lard, cream, some butters, cheese, and most dairy products. Stay away from trans fats like donuts, cookies, crackers, and muffins, and anything cooked in hydrogenated oils like peanut oil, corn oil, cottonseed oil. Just stay away from processed foods. A common recommendation you'll hear from nutritionists is stay away from the 5 whites. The first one is white bread, then white potatoes, white table salt. But not all salt is bad, and we use pink Himalayan sea salt that's full of healthy minerals. Stay away from white sugar and white rice. Here again, it's just best to stay away from processed foods as much as possible. How do you find the perfect diet for you? You work at it. You read, listen to podcasts like this, talk to a nutritionist, speak to your doctor. You must take control of your own health. Not me, not your doctor, not a family member, but you. Try it and find your own plan that works for your unique body. Mark Twain said, "The only way to keep your health is to eat what you don't want, drink what you don't like, and do what you'd rather not." Of course, that's funny, but while it might be true to start with, if you focus on your why for living a longer and healthier life, you'll learn to enjoy eating, drinking, and doing what best supports your health and longevity goals. You might have started listening to this podcast wanting to find the magic pill, and voila, you have the perfect diet. Sorry to disappoint you. But what I have done here is give you the tools that will help you find your own personal, perfect longevity diet. Until next week, remember, longevity is not just about quantity, but quality.
Thanks for listening to Longevity Codes. For more information, go to longevitycodes.com. To learn more about our sponsor, check out redoxlongevity.com. Tune in to next week's podcast, where you'll learn more strategies on living a longer, healthier, and more active life.